All right, here we go. Admit into the waiting room. All right. So we're getting everybody in here now. And let's go ahead and pull that up right there. Boom, boom. All right, so we'll go full there. Yep. And then getting it all set up. And I'm gonna go ahead, bada bing, bada boom. Let's get the meeting right there. Let's get your guys' audio up. There we go. Hey, like I said, in these streams, again, I'm running tech, I'm doing it all. But you see, we got the guys in here looking good. Let's go speaker view. I like that speaker view right there. And I'll be off to the side. Try not to cut off my face like I have in previous streams. I just don't want to cover up you guys on the screen. All right, perfect. Perfect. So everybody's out here. I'm going to have that chat popped up as well. I'll probably be over it a little bit. Let me read off some of this before you guys introduce yourselves. This chat has really been popping off, so I appreciate all of you. Khalid made a good point. I know, Dennis, you may eventually want to answer this. The Bucks are 9-1 at home, right? And Mark, I saw you earlier today, and I said the only team that beat them was the Hawks, and Trae Young had to have 48. It was a historic performance. So his Bucks coming back in the series, and you never know with these playoffs. You got Phillip, admit him into the waiting room. So, Mark, you got to see some of the game. From what you saw that possession. You commented earlier, the 20 pass possession or something like that, right?
Yeah.
What did you see out the Suns tonight that impressed you the most?
It was just interesting seeing how crazy the Suns were being on offense when it came to it. I saw somebody comment on Twitter about how they were passing, and it was like it would make the old Spurs proud. And because the Spurs were known for being a really good passing team before shooting. And so they would always get wide open shots for Ginobili or for Parker or any of their good shooters, and then they're really good on defense. And then with that possession, me and you were watching it, and I was just like, are they gonna shoot? Are they gonna shoot? Are they gonna shoot? And then the last second they got the pass into Aiden. He dunked over two and got an and one. And I was like, okay. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you get later on in the game, you get basically Booker's like, this is my game, and he hits one in the face of I don't remember exactly who it was. I think it was either it was over Chris Middleton, I think. You remember that? And he hit one right in the face.
It was either Middleton or Tucker on the right corner. Yeah, he would step up and make those big shots. I want to kick it over to Dennis. Dennis, obviously supporting the Bucks in this series.
Yes,
you
sir.
are.
Yes, sir.
You said Milwaukee would come back and win this game.
Yes.
What do you think was the main thing that went wrong?
First of all, I just want to begin by, congratulating the Suns on the Game 2 win. Although things didn't go according to plan as I had expected for the Bucks. I still root for the Bucks even if we're down 0-2. And yeah, man, Giannis came in and balled out. But these other guys, Chris Middleton. There's a question you asked me yesterday about who am I gonna pick, Chris Middleton or Jason Tatum? This was the reason why I picked Jason Tatum. Chris Middleton is a great player, but sometimes he can pull off a dud like this game, 11 points. You expect him to, this is a guy who's supposed to be getting like at least 25 points in the game. I mean,
right.
Then also this other thing, right? I was watching the game all through. Then after in the second half, there was this like 10-point lead that just kept on being constant. The Suns were up 10 all the time. It was either 10 or 13.
Yep.
The Bucks weren't able to offset it. Then when I was watching late in the game, like 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, Drew Holiday went for that strong and one on Devin Booker. I thought that was a run. Then Giannis hit that jump, hit that mid-range. I thought that was the run that the Bucks needed to, go to overtime. But that didn't happen. I mean, Devin Booker was just hitting back to back threes. Nobody was stopping it. You know, I mean, CP3 did his thing, and CP3
Yeah.
did.
Well, what you said about that Bucks run, that was their chance right there.
Yes.
That
Oh,
was the point where there's about 6 minutes in that fourth quarter. They had to get
yes.
about 5 stops. They got those stops, but the offensive rebounds from Aiton out to Chris Paul in the corner and then to Jay Crowder mid-range jump shot, that put them to bed. What else did you have to say?
I mean, the Bucks. I mean, Giannis did his thing. Giannis came in. I'm seeing the stat sheet right now. Giannis just came in and balled out the way he's supposed to. He played 40 minutes, 42 points, 12 rebound, double double. He did everything he could. But these other guys, I mean, okay, Chris Middleton. I'm going to hold the fire on this guy because man, I expected more from Chris Middleton in this game. If a guy like Mikal Bridges can score 27 points, he didn't make the All-Star team, but Chris Middleton, you only scored 11 points and you make two All-Star teams. That's a problem for me. I'm not taking that lightly. This guy just, he didn't play well at all. Drew Holiday, I made a comment the previous stream. I just said if the offense doesn't work, go to defense. He actually was going at him defensively and he was taking the
Yep.
occasional
Yep.
shot. He did what he could. Giannis did what he could, but Chris Middleton didn't play well. The Bucks weren't getting back on defense. They were not getting their second chance points. This time I was watching the game, right? And offensive rebounds, like the ball just went to Devin Booker hit a baseline shot. He went for the offensive rebound, scored it. This time the Bucks were just watching the ball. They're just watching the ball just go through. I mean, what's going on? I mean, you're supposed to, no ball watch during the game. You have to, make sure to pick up your guy, and
Yep. Get a body on, box out.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that.
and it seemed like Aiton was doing that. I want to kick it to Philip. Khalid just said in the chat, by the way, I think he's referring to Giannis. For a guy that's not 100%, it's crazy that he's putting up the numbers that he is, absolutely, and playing the way he is. And we had that conversation at the end of last live stream about how is he even playing at the high of a level after coming off such a great, level of a strain. So to Philip, Aiton tonight didn't have the crazy 19 rebounds like last game. He had 10 points, 11 rebounds. But there was a clip of Monty Williams talking to him on the bench saying, hey, you may not impact the game with stats every time, but you got to impact it with force. He did exactly that. He answered the call right after that at the end of the game. That's one of the things that stood out for me. Anything about Aiton or anything else on the Suns stand out for you?
So you mentioned Monty Williams, and this is something that I just sort of realized when watching the game. Why is it that the Suns coaching staff, they all have like that pamphlet? I think it has like a list of set plays or something. The Bucks don't have anything. If you look at like the coaching staff, they just have, the whiteboard, the tablets, but all
Interesting note.
it was interesting to sort of see that. I'm also seeing that people are calling Coach Bud Light. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, they don't make he doesn't make the same adjustments throughout the game, and the timeouts that Williams takes is always like right on time, right at the correct time when the Bucks make their sort of mini runs to get back. He always calls a timeout right on time, and his team responds
Yeah, true.
out of the timeout. The coaching is, I mean, you've seen a different level of coaching. Monty Williams, I mean, nothing but respect, obviously, for his personal life. He went through a lot of really hard stuff, responded in such a gracious way. And his coach, Chris Paul, earlier in his career when he was in New Orleans, has great connections with his team. And you can tell when a team legitimately likes to play for a coach and wants to play for a coach. And this is the situation here. There's respect that is mutual. It goes both ways, and he makes great adjustments. Really quick as well, I want to ask you, Philip, Torrey Craig, did you get to see that injury? What happened there? Like somebody was driving, was it Giannis or somebody driving
It
into
was
him
Giannis.
and he fell on the baseline?
Giannis.
Yeah. So what happened there?
Honestly, I'm not sure. He was grabbing the right knee. I believe it could be a bone bruise because it collided, and not only that, he landed awkwardly too. Giannis also like landed awkwardly with the left knee, and that left knee was the one that actually collided with Torrey Craig's right knee. So this is probably I would consider it a contact injury. We'll see what the actual professionals have to say because I'm not a doctor obviously yet. So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see.
yet he's getting there. He's getting there.
We'll see
Yeah.
what the actual diagnosis is. It turns out I was right. It was a sprain for a sprain, P, not strain with a T. A sprain
Okay.
is with the ligaments. Strain is with muscles and tendons. It was the PCL, and I remembered last time I said I think it's a sprain on one of the either ACL or PCL, and it turns out I believe it was a PCL, non-contact injury.
Okay, good to know. And good to know for the adjustment. We'll kick it back over to Mark. So earlier you said you think the Suns can take one game in Milwaukee and come back and close it out in 5.
Yeah, well, so yeah, Suns take 1 L. And then they blow them out the next game, and then they come home and they say, we're the champs. Sorry, Giannis. Have a good night.
That's tough. But hey, at this point, like, I don't know what else Milwaukee. Now to Dennis, one of the things that could be a sign of encouragement, if you're from Milwaukee's perspective, is that you just had to go through this Phoenix team where Chris Paul has an unbelievable historic game 1, had a performance that hadn't been done. Those numbers, I believe, 20 some odd points and 8 assists in a debut since Michael Jordan, in a debut in a final since '91, Michael Jordan. Chris Paul had to have that type of game in game 1. Now game 2, you had to have Devin Booker with 31. You had to have a couple of offensive rebounds that went your way at the end. And Mikal Bridges, who nobody expects to score as much as he did, scored 27. While at the same time, the 2 main money players, big money players on your team, Holiday and Middleton, only combined for 28 points, right? And you only lose by 10. All of that to say, I mean, can they take something positive out of that? Is it as simple as just Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday play better, or do the Bucks need a different game plan?
So disappointed when I see a Drew Holiday rushing back on D. I talked about this earlier. He needed to get that elite defense. He did, but the other Bucks roster was just lagging behind. Nobody could even stop that DeAndre Ayton dunk after the block from Drew Holiday. Someone has to pick that up. Someone has to pick that up, and
Yeah, that was a telltale sign. I mean, there's just a certain thing about an effort, and you get this far, and you expect guys to come back, sprint back, especially if you know that's Holiday going after the play. And he had 2 great. I mean, he had a block on that Booker dunk that you just described, and then later in that quarter, I believe he blocked DeAndre Ayton on a dunk or something going to the hole. So that guy's never going to quit defensively. And so the rest of your team, you got to sprint back. I hear what you're saying about the effort.
I'm saying is, Josh, what I'm saying is, I mean, it's a collective effort. It's not just about, but the Giannis dropping 42 points. He did, but he got an L. So everyone has to, come in and do their role. Like I expect Chris Middleton to come in, ask for the ball. There's this time I saw Giannis was really asking for the ball. He was like, "Give me the ball." He was asking for the ball, and he was given, and he went directly to the rim and scored it. I didn't see the same aggression with Chris Middleton. A star player, has to know his role on the court, and he has to be aware of what he can do and what he cannot do. But he has to have a awareness of what he can do. Like Chris Middleton, he has to know if I get open and and someone finds me open in the 3 and I can hit that 3, I take that 3. Right? Those they need somewhat of like and also just to echo what Philip said. I mean, Mike Budenholzer, they didn't have like any like timeout. I feel like, okay, let me just say this: the thing that I've seen, the whole Bucks organization right at the start of the playoffs, I have not seen a situation where the Bucks, like even in a timeout, like they come out with more creative plays. I mean, Mike Budenholzer is not a coach. I feel like Mike Budenholzer is not a coach like who does like adjustments like mid game that they can win this game. If he could have that ability, we wouldn't be in that situation where the Suns are leading in 10-0. They have a 10-point lead that's not going away. Then the Bucks cannot stop it. If Mike Budenholzer was that coach that can make in an adjustment and timeout, he can change the way the offense is and be able to offset that deficit. So I feel that's the thing, man. And the Bucks.
Yeah. The adjustments, I hear you. Swing it over to Phillip. Giannis, right? Big night, 42 points, 12 rebounds. But the offense can get a little bit stagnant when you got one guy. Basically, give me the ball, I drive, I score. The other guys, obviously, were not able to get into much of a rhythm. Besides, maybe you could argue Pat Connaughton with 14 off the bench. Is that the type of game plan that they should go with offensively next game? I mean, you don't definitely want to say Giannis scoring a bunch of points is a bad thing, but the 2 games with him back, the whole team is not able to get that rhythm that they got with in the Hawks series with Giannis out. How do they address that?
I honestly don't know, to be completely honest.
And that's fair. I mean, I don't think there's any clear answer. But it's kind of head scratching. Like, how do you have your best player score so many points and you just can't pull through? And then without him, you win. It's just really weird.
I mean, it doesn't help that Chris Middleton, he was honestly cold tonight. Usually he's pretty streaky as a player. So the fact that he's cold tonight, I'm expecting him to have a bounce back game, especially going home. Though I agreed with Mark, honestly. The Bucks will probably take at least the next game. They'll win a couple home games. Phoenix might take one game from the Bucks home, though, and then win at the Phoenix Arena. So, yeah, I don't know how the Bucks go on from here. They have 3 shot creators that are out there, but they're always out there like at the same time. Coach Bud Light needs to honestly stagger their minutes. Yeah, outside of that, I really don't know. The Suns, they were playing beautiful basketball. It looked like every possession they had a plan, at least, or they were actually running set play. And the Bucks, they were just Giannis iso ball, Chris Middleton maybe, or Drew Holiday finally brings it down and then starts something.
Yeah, much different how that game evolved versus the beginning when you saw both Holiday and Giannis attacking the rim, and it seemed like, okay, they're going to pound it inside. And it was working at first. Like, their first quarters have been good these past 2 games, but the Phoenix 3-point barrage is something else. I mean, tonight, obviously the franchise record 23s that they had in this game, they shot 20 out of 40. They shot 50% from downtown, and Milwaukee only 9 for 31, 29%. And again, another stat that was wild, free throws tonight. Phoenix, 12 of 14, and Milwaukee, 15 of 23. As a team throughout the playoffs, they said this on the broadcast, it's like the highest free throw percentage as a team in NBA playoff history. They're shooting, the Suns that is, like 87% from the line as a team. Now, if you're like Milwaukee, you're not going to get that because Giannis is shooting so many free throws from the line, and he's like a 55 to 60% free throw shooter himself. But as a team, Phoenix 87% from the line. And so they really don't have any weaknesses in their game because it's not like you can say Devin Booker is just a scorer. Okay, we'll attack him on defense. No, he's a very legitimate, capable defender. Chris Paul can do both. Their supporting players are really good. Jay Crowder can be a pest defensively and hit some threes. They have Ayton inside. The only thing that, and any of you can take this and we'll kind of wrap up here. The only thing that I think Milwaukee really needs to, if they can exploit anything, is Phoenix is starting to thin out, right? They're losing, key role players like a Saric. Maybe they don't have a Torrey Craig. But the thing is, like, you may not see them in the statistical impact, but they're providing minutes that Crowder needs to rest, that, most important, that a Booker or a Paul needs to rest. Those are the minutes that these guys are going to be taking up. And now without them, I mean, maybe the Bucks can take advantage of that somehow in terms of just, controlling the pace of the game. But any final thoughts from you, Mark, other than it's just going to be Suns runaway?
So I want to touch. So I'm just looking at the stat line real quick, and I want to touch on what you just said, how they're thinning out.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're really thinning out. Maybe for like a guy the size of Sarge, but if they're losing a Terry and Craig, they still have a Javon Carter, a Langston Galloway, a Etwan Moore, which 2 out of the 3 of those are still great 3-point shooters, and a couple of them have played pretty good defense throughout their careers. So I think it could be a thin, but they could still have some little tiny pieces back in there that can help fill out those.
Yeah.
But I know that there's the whole thing about the 9-1, but I feel like not only seeing how the Suns have played through this entire playoffs, but knowing that this is Chris Paul's first and only time in his career that he's played in the finals, and the way that he's played the first 2 games, like I said, I think they'll get one game, probably the next one, and then the Suns will come out after that and be like, "Nah, you guys are done. We're taking the next 2. This is over." Because
Yeah.
the
To echo your point for Chris, it may be one of those now or never type deals for him. I mean, the Bucks, those guys, I'm not saying they're thinking this, but there's a high probability they'll have another chance to make it legitimately. Not saying the Suns don't, but Chris Paul at the age of 36, and you never know what could happen with his body and everything like that. He's had injuries in the past. Not saying it'll happen.
Right.
No foreboding or anything nonsense like that. But I'm just saying for him, he's viewing it. I sense from that team they have this is a now or never type deal, and the Bucks just don't have that as much right now. So
Right.
it could come down to that.
Plus, now looking at the other side, the only person I see on their bench for the Bucks side, say a Giannis went down, or say a Chris Middleton, like Giannis, or let's just say with Giannis, since he might still have the lingering injury. There's not really anybody on this bench other than like a Justin Jackson who might be able to give a little bit, because I don't see anybody on here who was doing well during the regular season. They probably just have a couple people that they pulled up from the G League or grabbed right before the season ended to play in the playoffs. So,
well, the missing a Dante DiVincenzo is big in this series as
True.
well, and I'm glad we were able to bring that name up. I'll throw it over to you, Dennis, if you want to comment on that, because DiVincenzo could come in there and provide support. Like if a Middleton's not hitting or something, he can come in and not only score, he can make some plays and maybe get some open shots for Middleton, so Middleton doesn't have to shot create as much. So the impact of Dante DiVincenzo, I mean, if you want to touch on that, and any other final thoughts.
I mean, just say this, right? Let me just say this. I still believe in the Bucks, although right now it's not looking good for the Bucks. But yeah, I mean, these bench guys just need to play out. I mean, I just saw Bobby Portis only play like 439, 2 points, 2 rebounds. We've got Jeff Teague. I actually didn't know Jeff Teague was in the roster until tonight.
Neither did Charles Barkley. You see that the other against the Hawks? He said they said the Hawks need to bring in Jeff Teague because they don't have a backup point guard.
I feel like Jeff Teague right now is not even playing like a borderline All-Star. He's playing like a borderline NBA player at this point. I just feel, I mean, the Bucks. Then Brook Lopez was also getting cooked. I mean, again by Devin Booker from the three. Nobody could stop the 3 ball. I mean,
what's that signature phrase of yours again? Can you say it for us? What were the Suns doing? Were they cooking them Bucks?
They were cooking them Bucks.
Cooking them Bucks, man. 2 straight games. Dear meat, man.
I mean, it was just very hard for me to watch this game because when I just watched it, I was like, what can the Bucks do differently? Aside from Giannis, if you take out, let's say, God forbid, something happens to Giannis, this is gonna be it will be a sweep at this point because, I mean, I'm trying to look at like the silver lining in this situation. The Bucks are down 0-2. I just feel like when the Bucks go home, maybe they can win a game. Or even like the next 2 games, maybe. I just want them to tie up the series again. But anyway, that would be a long shot. But the way the Phoenix Suns are playing right now, it's gonna be a tough ask for the Milwaukee Bucks to win 2 straight games like the same way the Phoenix Suns did.
And it's the way the Suns played this entire playoffs. We'll wrap it up with Philip. It's not like. They're not like one of the most dominant teams of all time. To make a parallel, like when we saw that 2016 Warriors team, the 72-win team, thought nobody could beat them, they were down 3-1 to OKC. So there was a clear crack in the armor there. And then obviously the Cavs make the comeback on them in the finals. The Suns haven't had anything close to any like type of deficit. Maybe the Lakers is the closest thing when they were down 2-1. And that was when they were the most vulnerable. Since that point, whether you want to attribute it to injuries or not, they've handled their business. right? There's never been a point where you're like, I don't know if the Suns are going to pull it out. Like, they dominated that Denver series. They got up 3-1 on the Clippers, and although in Game 5 it was a bit shaky, they handled business in Game 6, so they weren't going to blow any type of lead. And so because they've been so solid, I just don't see, like, them as the team that would blow the lead. Now, if it comes back, I will gladly take that. I will gladly take that being wrong, but it just doesn't seem like they would be the ones to blow the lead at this point, right? They've been so solid. They have solid coaching, and they're locked in. This is what happens when you're locked in. Booker and Paul, those two leading the charge, they're on a mission. They're on a mission, and I just don't see them giving in.
Yeah, let's not jinx it though, because we've often had.
We've seen crazier things.
Yeah, we've often had like some sort of injury with Chris Paul or like a fellow starting member, for example, Blake Griffin. So I'm still holding my breath a little bit because. Yeah, we've already had confirmation. So 2 Suns players injured. Torrey Craig has a bone contusion. Looks like it's on the patella or the knee when Giannis ran into him. Giannis's left knee is also something that I would still watch out for because there was, like I said, that one play where his landing was awkward. He was knocked off, or like he landed on someone's shoe with the left foot, and I think it twisted. And on top of that, his left knee, the injured knee, that knee was the one that banged into Torrey Craig and caused Torrey Craig to have the obviously bone contusion. So honestly, next game, hopefully no more injuries. Maybe
no more
one
injuries
that has no injuries.
Yes. Well, it's always something to look out for. Again, we'll echo that sentiment as we close out here that we got to watch out. You know, hopefully, like you said, no more injuries. It's been unfortunately has been a defining factor of the postseason, and hopefully the finals can remain devoid of them, at least to the star players. I mean, it's terrible to lose anybody, but the Suns and the Bucks, they both need their stars to have any chance in this series. Okay, appreciate all you. Again, Sunday night, I guess it'll be like Monday morning for Dennis. You never know with the time zones with that guy. We will be back here after Game 3. If it's 3-0, then I'll try to my best to bring the energy. If it's 2-1, then, you know, the energy will be there regardless. So appreciate all y'all, and peace out for the night.
Peace.
Peace.
Deuces.
All right, there we go. And there we go. All right, people. Appreciate everyone again for coming out and showing all the love and support on this live stream. Game 2 of the finals goes to the Suns, 118-108. Historic night. Mikal Bridges and everybody else who chipped in. Devin Booker, B Legendaries on a mission. Chris Paul on a mission. Like I said, that team looks locked in, and we will see what happens going forward. Either way, we will have it for you right here on the channel. This is Topic Tackle. And more is coming soon, so stay solid, people.